I am in Howard City, Michigan. This is the downtown. You see that? And you see that? And I came because I was going to look at old buildings, and I found this, a record store. And the owner is Dan the Record Man. How's that for catchy? They just reopened a couple weeks ago, but they're heading south for the winter in a couple more weeks. But they had been a record store and a food place, but they closed that down in 2019, but they've now reopened. And so it's now the Edge. Pretty cool and beautiful Howard City. So this is the $7 room, and this is called the Edge. What's it called? It's the Edge Record Store. It's in Howard City. They just opened a few weeks back, but they're going down south for the winter time, so it's only open a couple more weeks here. And I stumbled upon this. I mean, I was like, I came in looking at old buildings, and suddenly there's a record store, because Howard City is not a big town, 2 blocks of a downtown. But this room here, everything is $7. So we got some CDs. So we got a $7 room. I'm just going to see what we had. Some of this. Not going to do 7 on those. At one time, they were open. In 2019, they closed, but they were a sandwich coffee shop and record store. And a few weeks ago, they decided, let's just open the record store again. So, yeah, just who would have guessed? Not a lot in the $7 area here. That's the Molly hatchet I've been needing. And it's the midweek, and we start with a tour of Howard City, Michigan, the place most least likely to have a record store, at least to find a record store. It's just a 2-block downtown. But there it was, the Edge, and the owner, Dan the Record Man. it doesn't get cooler than that. It should be reopened now. They went away for the winter. You can see when I filmed that, the Christmas decorations were up. They went down to Florida. They should be back. It should be open. You can see they had a lot of inventory there, a lot of records, and they have more downstairs. So fascinating place. The building itself is just an architectural marvel. Just gorgeous type building. And, you know, so, you know, the $7 room was interesting. Some of them, maybe not for $7, but the inside, I found some things, and, you know, it was just fun. The owners are great. A lot, very, very nice people, easy to talk to. It's just it's a fun place to go. So if you're heading north, especially toward Traverse City, Michigan, for those in Michigan, stop in Howard City. Give them, say hi, and see what you can find there. But now let's get back. We're going to go into records that I've brought back into my collection. And I got in a couple that are so important to me. These are big. I wouldn't put them as Grail because they can be found, but I've been looking for these. Finally, I went out and I found some decent prices on Discogs, so I went in and get them because they're important. And, you know, and I had these before, obviously, in my collection. The first is Uskadu's Zen Arcade. This is like, I think, their third album, possibly fourth. In this album, they decided to bring in melody. And, you know, it's loud, it's fast. They were, I mean, these were hard. It was hardcore punk that was going on. But they could write songs. Both Bob Mould and Grant Hart were great songwriters. See if I have an inner sleeve, but I don't. And so what they did, they brought some melody into this. And it's a 2-record set. It is a concept album, though I haven't a clue what the concept even is about. Cat had to come up. He should be napping right now, but it's 5, so he's not. Okay, sit. So great album. This is important to me. It's the second Uskadu album I ever bought. It is a classic. I mean, a stone cold classic of all time. Okay, there we go. All right, Cat is sneezing on all of you, and you can see his Hitler mustache. So, and here was, I can't find my other original. It's a 2-record set. I got one of them. That's sides A and B. So I got to find that. I'm not sure where it's at. The other one, this is the very first Uskadu album, and this is one, this ranks up with my favorite albums, and that's New Day Rising. This came out after Zen Arcade. Like Zen Arcade, it is a pure classic of the 80s. Of hardcore, it is an absolute must, a classic again. They, Hart and Mould were like competing to see who could come up with the catchiest stuff. And when you listen, I mean, it's loud, it's fast, but underneath it, there is great melodies. You have New Day Rising, the girl who leaves and goes to heaven. I apologize. Boom, boom. Terms of the Psychic War, incredible good song. This is jam-packed with some of the best songs ever. It was the very first Uskadu album I bought. And it just started out with New Day Rising, New Day Rising. And they just kept repeating this phrase, but the guitars kept getting more intense and more intense. And it was something I've never heard. And I was absolutely hooked. And I believe this came out in 85. Zen Arcade came out in 84. Important albums, extremely important. And they are, I cannot tell you how excited I am to have these back, because these 2 albums mean a ton to me. And that was my original vinyl from way back when, before the flood. Little wrap. Everyone's shown this. I used to have this. I had a Vinyl Me Please version. That Vinyl Me Please version goes for over like $125 medium now. It's like, well, crapola, man. Oh well. And mine's is blue. They come in a lot of different colors. I mean, there's just colors all over the place. I don't know what the difference is, but De La Soul, you talk about another important album, and this was the one. I mean, wow, came out in 1989. It is one of the most inventive, playful and absolutely self-assured hip-hop debuts ever. It's pop, soul, disco, country. I mean, they sample all of that in here. It's organized like it's a game show. So that's how, they have talking and that, like it's a game show. But, the songs, there is, about, the destructive power of drugs, inner city issues, true love. There's a song about body odor. So it is all over the place. And it kind of began, what I would say, the daisy age of hip hop began with this album. And while you had other, artists, and, NWA, Public Enemy, Fierce, Anger, they didn't have the anger. They still talked about the issues. But unlike NWA, who pretty much only knew the F word, and that came out like every other word, they didn't do it. They did it in a whole different way, a very chilled way, but an incredibly good album. So one of the greatest debuts in hip-hop came out in 1989, and that's De La Soul's 3 Feet High and Rising. 3 Feet High and Rising. What was that? Johnny Cash song? 3 Feet High and Rising. Yeah, he had that song. Okay, another rap. That was this is from Vinyl Me Please, flying like a million years ago, and I haven't shown it yet, as usual. Tribe Called Quest. I used to have both of these in CD. Now I have them in vinyl. And so on here, we have... Whoa! How about that one? That is pretty dang cool. Yeah, meow. Don't sit on the records, dude. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Eric Weinbender, if you're watching, there's a crack. And so this album is, and it even came with, there is a book that came with it, as it is Vinyl Me Please. Tribe Called Quest. This came out in 1991. It was their second album. What this did is really, it's a brilliant fusion of jazz and hip-hop. They turned the tables again and brought in a little bit more jazz. Q-Tip and, what was it, Field Dog, something like that. They were like the smoothest batch of rappers ever. I mean, the way they could flow it together and like read each other's mind, it really came out. The music itself, it is not complex, but it's filled with, well, actually it doesn't even have a lot of samples on there. It's minimalistic. They have an upright bass, there's a drum program, there's some keys, and then they put in the samples where they need it. And less is more is what they were doing. So a great hip-hop classic. Really happy to have that Tribe Called Quest. Got this back in. Here was my original from Bowie's Pinup. Bowie, he had Ziggy Stardust, they did Aladdin Sane, they did Hunky Dory, and then we did Pinups, which is like covers. It was kind of like he was burning out. We need another album. He's, oh my God, I'm burning out. Let's do a cover album. And that's what they did. So, to me, I think it was almost as if, hey, I need to rest. And let's do something easy. And he changed direction. After this, he really began to change direction. Kind of the end of Ziggy Stardust. And, you could see not a little bit of Ziggy, but not quite all. So this is great. It's really nice. It's great covers on here. I've always enjoyed it. So happy to have that one back. Then, speaking of Bowie, I picked this one up. Again, used to have this in CD. Changes 2. Changes 1 was so popular. Everyone loved it. It came out in the 70s. It had all those wonderful hits from Bowie. And here you can even find them. There's Changes 1. It's on there. So, why not do, I think this came out in 84. Let's do Changes 2 and bring in some of those songs, which was good because you have Aladdin Sane, Oh You Pretty Thing, Starman, 1984, Ashes to Ashes, Fashion, John, I'm Only Dancing, DJ. So some of the stuff, a lot of it came after, the first Changes 1. Great album, really nice, good hits, something that I would play a lot because it's all the songs I like. Brought back in Green on Red. This is their 4th album. Actually, it's the 3rd one. The Killer Inside of Me. they had some EPs in between. This is an okay green on red. Yeah, you know, their other ones, Gas Food Lodging and Gravity Kills, I've showed both of them. Bigger, more important. They're still with the Americana. They went with Mercury label on this. And, you know, who was the producer of this one? Oh, now I'm not seeing it. It don't matter. It's a good album. Not quite as great as the other ones from Mercury here. So, okay, green on red. I like, it's a group I like, so I don't mind having it, but I won't listen to this one as much. Then, the cat is really annoying. Okay, Tom Tom Club brought this back in. Great to have it back. You know, it came, Talking Heads did Remain in Light. And, you know, Brian Eno. So suddenly, Tina Weymouth and Chris France, the bass and drummer, it's like, gosh darn it. We want to do some of our own stuff. Here's what we want to do. And it's like a melding of a rap and dance music. And it's all put in together on here. Obviously, Genius of Love is on this. Really good album. Great. You know, it's just fun. They went down to Barbados. They did it pretty quick. Tina Weymouth brought her sisters down there. And that's what you get. And really nice stuff. Label, Sire Records. So, huge album for them. And it showed, you know what? It's not just all about David Byrne. Flock of Seagulls, second album. I brought this in. I really want the first album, but can't get it. Bam. 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 All right. So, is that cat abuse? I don't think it is. He's abusing me right now. So, oh, God, you don't have to stick your freaking butt in my face. Cat. I don't want your butt in my face. All right? No butt. No butt. But, all right. So, my God, this has been a tough one. Okay, so on here you did have the song, Wishing If I Had a Photograph of You. Great song. Love that song. The first album, though, had Iran, which is the really big one. Still, you had The Great Hair. They came in a little late for the New Romantics. They were kind of in between phases of songs. I guess they're back together again. I don't know if they have quite the hair that they used to have, but they're out touring the 80s, circuit. See, people want to relive the 80s. Okay, Flock of Seagulls album. Is it, I could buy a greatest hits, but that would be 3 sides, but an EP, I guess you could do it. So, whatever. That's okay. And the final one, a one-hit wonder, but I really like this album. Martin Briley, One Night with a Stranger, and it has the wonderful The Salt in My Tears. Ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-bum. Great song. And, it had a wonderful video, and it was a very extremely erotic video that everyone was going, young guys were. So, it's one hit wonder probably. Maybe in the UK he had a lot more hits. In the United States, a lot of words. Hey, he tried to hop up there and he blew it. I got a bunch of claws in my, no. So, oh my God. He's going to just piss on me. Okay, so there we go. Martin Briley. Yeah, one hit wonder. Happy to have it back, I guess. I enjoy that song. So that's it. There we go. Your midweek. Some great songs I brought back in my collection. Cool record store, Howard City. Don't forget the podcast we have going on. 2 guys talking about records, not 2 guys talking about lettuce. 2 guys talking about records. Can find it on Podbean and on Radio Wasteland. And we're going to have our next one is we did records. We did etiquette. Record shopper etiquette. Our next one is what do we really want to see out of a record store? What are our expectations? So please tune into those. They're only 30 minutes, nice and quick. Thank you, everyone. Have yourself a great week. Bye.